All right, guys, it's time for the Next Level Guy Show, a men's interview, interest, and improvement-focused podcast featuring interviews with the greats from all industries to help you better your life. Each week, a new episode features an interview with one of the greats, covering all aspects of their story, from life hacks to tips and protocols that have allowed them to live life on the next level. We then highlight concrete action steps that you can use to improve your life. And now, your host, Ian Dawson Mackay.
And today's guest is Taylor Ray Malynyk. Taylor is an amateur Muay Thai fighter and K1 kickboxer for Waco, Team Canada. In this interview, we discuss Muay Thai, training, confidence, competing, and finding yourself through martial arts. She's a wise head on young shoulders and will be a future superstar. You'll love her refreshing honesty, openness, and outlook on training, martial arts, success, and life. And now, let's get to the interview. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's an honour to feature you. I found you on social media. That sounds even worse. But I love the enthusiasm you have. I love the dedication you've got to training. But could you give a quick introduction? You know, how would you define who the phenomenon that is Taylor Ray is?
So my name is Taylor Ray. I'm 19 years old. I fight out of a gym in Scarborough, Canada. I'm a Muay Thai fighter, K1 kickboxer, boxer. I did a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but mostly just doing K1 kickboxing right now and Muay Thai. I've been training for about 5.5 years. I started when I was around 14, 15 years old, and I haven't stopped since. So this is where this has got me.
I love it. I'm a big fan of jiu-jitsu. Now, I read somewhere that you didn't like grappling with sweaty men. I believe that was the quote. There's a link, a newspaper article about you, and you said you started with your dad training, and you didn't like sweating with grappling men, so you just thought you'd kick them instead.
I did say that, didn't I? I did say that. Yeah, so how it went is I started my martial arts career with jiu-jitsu. And just like when I started, when I was younger, there was hardly any females doing the art. It was all just big, gross, sweaty men, and I wasn't progressing in anything. So I just felt defeated over and over again. I mean, I could understand the technique, I could understand the concepts, but it's hard to not get something just because, you're underweight, you're just not as strong as these other guys. So I didn't like it. I always felt like, damn, like I'm not good at this. So the gym that I was going to at the time also provided boxing and Muay Thai. And looking at those guys, I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. No way are you getting me to punch someone in the face. Here we are now. I punch people in the face for a living. So started with some boxing. I got good at it fast. So then that transferred into trying the Muay Thai, and I got good at that pretty fast. So I started going into competitions and just progressing very well. And I haven't stopped. I mean, it's just become my passion now.
That's a good answer, and it is when you see it being done, you think, it's fair enough, the punches and kickies, you see people doing kickboxing, and you think, okay. Then when they start throwing knees in, spinning back elbows, trips.
I feel like a ninja, yeah.
It really gives you this sense of confidence. It opens, I think when people see it, they're like, whoa. Because they can't get past the violence of it, but they don't see the beauty of it. They don't see the technique, the ritual kind of competition between the two fighters try to trick each other out. Oh, you can tell
it's a chess game. It's an absolute chess game, and you don't understand that until you progress a little more. But now it's all about the next move and the move after that and the move after that.
Yeah.
But to begin with, again, there not being so many females, being able to catch on to something or being able to, actually, feel at a level, even with the other guys who are not that great, I could still, throw back and forth, where with the jiu-jitsu, I couldn't. I was too small. I was too fragile. I wasn't as strong. So the boxing and the Muay Thai really just gave me that confidence boost where it was like, okay, I can be good at this. I am good at this. I can go somewhere with this.
Because you're certainly going places. You're winning medals, you're beating people left, right, and center. You're winning championships. But for people who don't know the kind of general structure, how do you kind of plan out a Muay Thai, like a general training camp? How much is built on skill development compared to analyzing your footage to work on your strengths and your weaknesses? How much is it on game footage for your opponent? How much is just hitting the pads? How do you work a general camp without a competition at the end? How do you keep your skills in check?
There is so much that goes into it. I've done multiple camps where it's just been like you eat, breathe, sleep, training. That's all it is. You wake up, your mindset is training. At the end of the day, before you go to bed, training. And it's all to go towards that end goal. What I've learned now, with the experience I have, is that the mental part of it is equally, if not more important than all the physical stuff, because you can work your ass off, you can, train as hard as you can, but if your mental's not there, you're going to get into a fight and, looking across that corner, if you're not sharp in the head, then everything that you've worked for goes to literal caca. So that's been something that I really have I've worked on and feel comfortable with now. But the camp usually starts with 6 weeks before, 2 to 3 months mostly. Then the last 6 weeks are very hardcore. Diet, nutrition, physiotherapy, just all those things, all the components that kind of you just got to prepare your body for the fight.
So how much do you roll in sort of cognitive sort of fixes, things like visualization, games to work on your creativity? Because I think a lot of people think it's just throw in as many punches and kicks as you can and hope the person falls down in front of you. But there's a lot of kind of like feints and combos and things like that. How much do you work on that kind of luring somebody into a trap? Because I don't know if you know who Hodger Gracie is, the BJJ legend. He was saying that he trains to bring people into his game rather than trying to defend what they're doing. He wants to bring you into his strengths and minimize his own weaknesses so he can attack you best. How much do you use creativity? How do you work out a game plan with your coach for, your next opponent? Or do you just work on keeping your strengths and going, I'm leading them into my preferred punch, my favorite kick, etc.?
You know what? It's all about having fun. Like all the game plans that I've made never go the way that you plan it out to be. You can make every game plan you want. When you get in the ring, you're just like, So honestly, I just revert back going to what I know, what I'm good at, and each fight's different, so I just take it as it is. I always have a game plan, what I'm going to work on, what I know I need to do, what I need to focus on. But at the end of the day, I'm not going in there going, I'm going to do this, and then when they do that, I'm going to do this, and then that. It's like, no, it's what's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm going to fight the way I fight.
And that's a better way to be, I think. The more you make a plan, the more you panic when it doesn't go down that line. And I think that's the thing, is people go, I'm going to throw this punch and then spin into this. But the second you get punched in the face, you're like, uh-oh, what do I do now?
That's what it is. Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And I mean, props to those guys who have a plan and execute it perfectly. Good for you. That's not me. I can't do that.
I just use pressure passing. I'm a big guy, so I just squish and work my way through with body lock passes.
You're that jiu-jitsu guy that I didn't like. That's why I stopped doing jiu-jitsu.
I'm sorry. Well, a big part of this series is I love to speak to people who are up-and-coming superstars in their industry. And I know you're going to be major successful. But you have this kind of knack of having disgustingly happy through every training session. I always am breathing out my arse by the end of it. How do you use exhaustion in your training? Because people don't realize how knackering a fight is. Like once you start going into multiple rounds, etc. Do you add in going for a run, multiple rounds of HRT training, etc., then do some sparring to mimic the exhaustion of a fight? How do you get used to that so it becomes easy in training so that you can just fight in heaven?
Something that my coach says to me and my fight team constantly is that the training is worse than the fight. You should never be worried about the fight because the training is going to be worse. So that's something that we prepare for. Getting into that ring, I should have no worry in the world because what I've gone through, the weeks before, will be a million times worse. So when it comes to that. The exhaustion and all of that, you just use that as fuel. You want to get to that point of, oh my god, I can't push anymore, oh my god, I can't push anymore, because once you get there, you push a little bit farther and you go, okay, well, I'm not going to feel this again, this fucking sucks, I don't want to feel this in the ring. So once you get to the ring, you're like, hey, I've been there, I felt like shit and now I feel great. So that's what we do.
So do you do things like, well, we called it Shark Tank in Jiu-Jitsu, where you have multiple rounds, that fresh
Yes,
opponent
sir.
every minute?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep. I will be stuck in the middle. My coach will put, a person at each corner and we get 30 seconds. So I'm in the middle for a whole 5 minutes. People in the corner will rotate every 30 seconds. That person goes in. Every 30 seconds, that person goes in. That person goes in. That person goes in constantly. So the person in the middle is being shark tanked. They can't get out. They got to stay up for that whole round. And then, of course, you end up rotating out. But, oh yeah, Shark Tank's a great one.
Yeah, when you're finished it. Yes, I definitely agree with that. And what about your kind of approach to training? How much of an input would you have into your training? Or are you kind of, I just will do what they tell me, I will do it with enthusiasm, I enjoy it? Or do you get kind of to sit and go, I want to work on this area of my skills? Is there anything kind of, or do you lure the master plan kind of thing?
It's definitely a collaborative kind of training. My coach obviously is going to tell me what to work on and what he thinks I need to improve on, and so on and so forth. But I mean, if I'm coming in and I'm like, you know what, I'm not feeling so comfortable in these aspects, we need to work on this. So go, yeah, cool, we're doing that, and we'll do that. Injuries is a big one for me, where not even like super big injuries, but like little things where it's just like my knuckles will be all busted up, and like if I hit the bag, it'll split open, and I'll be, I can't punch for a couple days just because it's like oozing blood every time I hit. So it's like, okay, now we're doing kicks this week, or we're doing knees, or instead of doing the punching, we're doing elbows. So it's like
Yep.
back and forth, a lot of collaborative work, and just trying to do what's best for me. And my crew is great for that.
You'll be like me, you find bruises everywhere and you have no idea where they come from. It's usually somebody's knee, somebody's toe hitting you in the back of the calf, or I think you get used to it. Your body kind of adapts to it. It almost becomes a sick pleasure that you enjoy. But that kind of leads us on perfectly to another great question area is, has there been something that you've struggled with? Because you have made leaps and bounds in your progress, your skills. You're always getting talked about being a great technician, etc. Has there been an area of your training or your skill set that you've struggled? It could be in the clinch, it could be certain kind of kicks that you've struggled with. How did you overcome something like that? And what did it teach you about what you're capable of, and how to learn well? What advice would you give to somebody in a similar situation?
To be completely honest with you, it's never going to stop being a struggle. It's always going to struggle. And I think if you're not struggling, you're not learning. Every single day I go in, there's something that I'm uncomfortable with, or something that, I don't feel super confident doing, I'm struggling with. But at the end of that day, you can go, okay, this is what I struggled with. This is what I need to work on. And, overcoming those things is the beauty of it all. But I think the struggle is part of the process.
It's nice to know it never goes away.
It doesn't. No, never.
So where would you, this is going to sound a bit of a grandiose question, but where are you on the line between confidence and ego, between rage and, calmness? Because I found if I'm psyched up for a jiu-jitsu roll, I'm terrible. But if I'm completely relaxed, I'm terrible. I need to between that line of complete psycho and complete calmness. I need to be in a healthy middle. How do you approach your fight in your training? Do you find you have to be in a certain mindset? Do you find you have to be enjoying it to really learn and grow as a fighter?
Honestly, it is a double-ended sword. It's completely a double-ended sword. I started earlier in my career with, being that aggressive, brawly kind of fighter. And, everyone says, stay calm, stay calm. And you're like, stay calm. Someone's trying to hit me right now. I'm not going to stay calm.
Yep.
So I struggled a lot, you know, in the beginning of my career trying to find that calmness. And now I'm at a point where I have that calmness and maybe even too calm now, at the end of my fights, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, oh, I always feel like I could have done better. Nothing I do, I'm okay with. I'm like, oh, but I could have done this. Oh, there was an opportunity for that I missed. And it's like, it's just a part of the process. But now I would say I'm at a point where I I try and hold that calmness so much because that's what my goal was. I was like, I need to be calm. I need to be calm. I'm going to see so much more if I'm calm. And now my past few fights, I've noticed I'm like, I'm too calm. I need to step it up. I'm not showing everything I'm capable of because I'm trying to keep that calmness. So when it comes to that, I mean, again, it's just a learning curve. Yeah, I'm always going to have to, go back and forth, pull the strings until I find that middle. And that's just going to come with experience, I think.
It's like you're saying, it's a very double-edged sword. It's that kind of, if I lean back too far this way, it's like my mind comes out. If I go too far that way and try to chase the fight, I'm going to lead myself open to getting hit in a certain way. And I found that in jiu-jitsu. The more you chased a win, the farther it got away from you. Mm-hmm. So on the flip side of that, is that the kind of the best advice a coach has given you, do you think, to relax but not completely relax? Or has there been something they've said to you that's allowed you to speed up your training or become a better fighter or to be more mentally prepared for your fight? Or, what has there been something a coach has given you that's really helped your game in some way?
I would just say the biggest, I guess, pro that my crew has given me and my team specifically is just that mental toughness. And that's what it comes down to. No matter what you do, you can go run for, 4 hours, but if you don't have that mental toughness, then you've already lost the fight. It's almost like you're fighting yourself pretty much. If you already believe that you've lost, then you're never going to win. So something that we really work on is persevering, not giving up. And again, making the worst of it in the training so that when we get to these events, we get to these, title fights, we get to these big shows. It's like, you've gone through the worst. Now just do what you love. It comes down to doing what we love. And I feel horrible for, athletes. And, I've been even there. I think every athlete has where, they're just like, shit, this sucks. Like, I don't like getting hit in the face. Like, this shit hurts all the damn time. But it really comes down to, hey, this is my passion. This is what I love to do. And if I don't love to do it, why am I doing it? Right.
Well, it sounds like he's also created because when you look in your social media, you always are having a laugh with your teammates. Everybody's smiling, everybody's having a laugh and playing jokes on each other. And he looks like they've created a great kind of training environment. And I think that's also something.
We're a family. We really are. My crew has really created us. We are very tight. We're family oriented. Right after training, we'll eat together. We train together. We run together. Sometimes, we'll be sleeping on the floors together. Like, we're a big family.
And I think that's something you need. And a lot of people see their training partners as the enemy. I have to win against them, when it's you're there to help each other become better. So how do you work on becoming better then? Say you had a new body lock trip, for example, that you were learning, or a new type of kick or a combination. How do you prefer to learn? Do you want to watch somebody doing it? And then do you break it down into its individual parts? Or do you kind of just keep doing it, repping and repping it until it works for you? How do you like to learn a new skill?
Practice makes perfect. I've never really been a person to, watch. I'm more of a doer than a watcher. So even if I look absolutely horrible doing it, I'm going to do it until it looks a little less horrible. And then I'm going to keep doing it till it looks a little less horrible than that until I get it. And that's kind of how I take that approach.
Sounds like my jiu-jitsu. It's keep going till it's less horrible as possible.
Exactly.
So how do we build the combat brain? Because people think it's just throwing punches, and then hopefully the better one wins. But there's all these like little nuances, it's like the duck of the shoulder, it's knowing when you can spot the opponent putting too much weight on the back foot, so you know that you can lead them into an outside right hook or whatever it is. How do you build that? Is it just round after round and just getting used to all these little things that you notice opponent's going to do, so you can bring this technique in or to lead them in, if that makes sense? How do you become an experienced fighter? Do you think, is it just round after round putting yourself in these situations?
I think it's definitely a combination of, finding that exhaustion round after round and, working your way and adapting to certain, techniques, but also technical sparring is something that's really helped me. Not, full out throwing bombs at your partner, but really slowing it down and using that technical kind of way to go about it, technical training. But it really comes down to like distance, speed, agility, power. Just like you said, it's the game of inches. So really, practice makes perfect. You're only going to get better by continuing to do it, and I think that's just what makes a great athlete is someone who just never gives up, someone who's determined, and someone who's going to keep going at it until they get what they're looking for.
That's a good answer. And do you work on like situational sparring? Do you do ones where somebody's got you in a clinch, you have to like break out of it and throw an elbow, and you rep that till it works? Do you have maybe one where you're just engaging and you've got a combination when you have certain distance between each other? Do you work in certain situations, or do you just let a fight flow and your coach will say, let's work on this area? Because like in jiu-jitsu, for example, we'll work in bottom with somebody on top of you in side control, so you have to escape then attack. Then you might do close guard and you have to escape and attack. Then you reverse the roles. Do you do similar in Muay Thai?
Something a little similar. If we'll break it down into like clinch, long distance, short distance, elbows, knees, kicks, punches, combination of everything. So like if we're doing a clinch day, usually my crew will let us flow, and then when he sees something, he'll be like, okay, well, when you're stuck in this position, what do you see here? What opportunities do you have here, and what would you do? So then I'd go, okay, show him, be like, okay, but do you see how here, this and this and this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's kind of, again, a collaborative kind of what I would naturally do as a Muay Thai athlete, and then his knowledge. So it's like I'd be doing it and go, yeah, you're right. Okay, that does make sense. And that way I'm learning it physically and it's going to stick with me more. Where if he just shows me something, I'm going to forget that in 5 seconds. I'm going to get in the ring and completely forget what he's talking about. As I feel like if I'm doing it, then I can see those openings with his help.
I love that. I love that he leads you into it. He doesn't just tell you, he lets you kind of piece that transition, that chain together. That's a great coach. Somebody that he doesn't just tell you what to do, he leads you to making it. It's like a video game, isn't it? As you discover more, the map opens up and you say, so if I do that, then that happens. That is a great way of coaching. So as you've started climbing the ladder, people see this as kind of like, I just need to win fights. How do you go between how do you realize it's going to take a while and, not burn yourself out? How do you keep enjoying this day in, day out? How do you set goals for yourself in terms of, say, 6 months to a year to 5 years? Are you thinking championships in 5 years? Or are you thinking every fight, I'll just take this one fight after another? How far ahead are you looking?
So the way I've kind of always taken this is that I'm going to do it until I don't love to do it anymore. Just because I've been in this, I feel not even that long. Honestly, I haven't been in the game that long. I mean, 5 years is not that long. But from what I've experienced personally, I've seen a lot of athletes, be burnt out and only be doing it because it's the only thing they know how to do. But right now, I love it. And until I don't love it, I'll be doing it. It just comes to that day where, I might wake up and say, you know what, this is not what I'm into anymore. But if I'm naturally and organically growing into, climbing the ladder and continuing to win and continuing to feel good about myself doing this, I mean, it's great for my mental, physical, emotional health in general. So as long as I'm happy doing it, I'm going to keep going, and I'm not going to stop.
No, you have a beautiful outlook on this, because I think too many people are chasing riches and success, and you're just enjoying it.
Yeah.
So when you've lost a fight, or you've had a shitty training session, or just a bad day, because you seem very happy and very positive about life, how do you reset? How do you recalibrate and go again? Because you seem to just take everything in your stride. But when you are really annoyed, when you're pissed off, when a sweaty host is asking you questions, how do you get back into that Taylor mode of having fun, coming in with a smile?
It happens. I mean, it happens to everyone. And what I do is, you just got to take a step back, evaluate, and sometimes, a break is what you need. I've, multiple times just be like, you know what, I need a couple days. I'm frustrated with something. I'm not getting something, or, I've just been doing too much. And something I've also struggled with is taking those couple days, because I'll take a day, 2 days, and I'll be like, shaking in my room, like I don't know what to do with myself, like what do I do now? But that's another thing that is hard for high performance athletes, is being comfortable with not training, right? Because we're programmed to train, and when we're not training we feel guilty. So now I've come to a point in my career where I feel guilty when I'm not training, and I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like, chill. So it's a lot of just, again, mental strength, mental reminding yourself that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to reevaluate. It's okay. And, it's so freaking hard. It is hard, but I mean, it's all part of the process.
It's definitely something that I notice, like, especially with people with businesses, for example, they'll start panicking that they're not grinding 24/7, because there's this belief that you have to work every minute of every day to be successful. And it's not always true. You need your relaxation, you need your recovery, you need your fun away from things, just to get that mind reset, to get the willpower again. Do you find then that you've talked about therapy on your social media? I've used cognitive behavior therapy. I've looked into neuro-linguistic programming, these sorts of things. What sort of therapy did you have, and did you find it helped you in a certain way? How did it help you get emotionally, mentally ready to fight? Is that what they kind of helped you with, just being able to step away from the fighting to be
Yeah,
yourself?
absolutely. And sometimes you need that, right? I think that communication is the best form of, medicine. So, when you verbally put that out there, and then, if you're receiving some kind of like response, you're going, oh, okay, maybe I didn't think about it that way. I'm not everyone, but it's easy to think the way you think, and not kind of go around that. And I kind of like to get other sources, other opinions. So um, it's really helpful to just sit down, put out your thoughts, and go, okay, this is what's happening. This is what I need to do. Is there something I'm missing? So sports therapy has really helped me with that. I mean, this is an intense game. I mean, there's so many worries in the world. It's like, okay, this is a big fight. Could this be my last fight? You hear of all these horror stories. It's like, oh my God, career ending fights. It's like, it's a big thing. And I've come to a point where it's like, I'm not fighting inexperienced people anymore. I'm fighting women with the same experience level as me, and that can be scary. So the mental game is definitely something you have to have 100% on point. And if you don't, then again, you need to take that step back and go, okay, what am I lacking? What do I need to do more of? What do I need to do less of? And how do I get back to that sharpness? Because you need to be sharp in this game.
I love how your outlook, you're down to earth. You understand this. You understand your limitations, what you need to work on. You're really young to have this kind of understanding. A lot of people come in, it's the ego, it's like, I'm the best, I can do this, like the Gordon Ryan approach. Whereas you seem to understand and have a very level headed approach. It's really nice to see. And you're badass.
I've never, that's the one thing that, and I see it all the time. I mean, being in the martial arts game, you just see the guys are like, I'm going here, I'm the best, I'm this. And I'm just like, oh my, sir, sir, relax, just chill. it's it's definitely something. And I mean, I've always said that I know I'm not the best. There's always going to be someone somewhere in the world that's maybe not on the platform, but somewhere working harder, someone who has, less, someone who has, less things to lose. So it's like at the end of the day, um yeah, you just gotta do it because you love it. And that's where I think confidence is definitely, you need the confidence, but there's a difference between confidence and, cocky, right? You have to find that in between, because once you're too cocky, it's like, okay, no one wants to be friends with you. No one wants to help you. No one wants to be your training partner because you have someone who wants to hurt you, wants to be better than you, is putting you down. It's like, that's not the kind of person you want to be, training with. That's not how you're going to learn or grow. And that person's not learning or growing either, because they got this tunnel vision mindset of, I'm the best, no one's going to beat me. That's it, period. And, people like Conor McGregor and these big people who have that mindset, it's great for them, but that's, because they are the greatest. These amateur athletes that just have that ego. It's the ego kills. It really does. It's okay to have confidence, and confidence is also key in this game, but you gotta know the fine line between confidence and cocky.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, is it's also the more you play with ego, the more a defeat or a bad loss could really destroy you. But at least if you have that fine line between them, you come back and it's kind of, well, I know my limitations, I know what I need to work on, I know I made a mistake, and it's refreshing to see somebody like you who's kind of like, I'll do this till I stop enjoying it. I'm doing this. I will work on my game. I'll speak to my coach. We are family. I've been in gyms where everybody's out to kill each other. It's all about...
It's horrible. What's the fun in that? Why are you doing it at that point? Because I know that you ain't getting paid to do it. Not an amateur, you ain't. So
oh, yes.
Until you sign that contract with the UFC or Bellator or the One Muay Thai Championship, what do you have to prove? Everyone's growing in this game. Why do you think you're better than anyone else? We're all here, to be better athletes.
Because that's what I love about like jiu-jitsu, for example. It's all about, people all learning together and, kind of developing the skills, but you also get the self-development, but you get the confidence and stuff like that. And you can always pick out those people who are in it for the wrong reason. And I'm assuming you can probably get that in Muay Thai as well. The people who are there because they like hurting people,
I think it's not just in martial arts, it's everywhere. Every sport, every, organization, even in like the workplace, there's those people that are there for the wrong reason, and those are just your energy suckers, right? You just gotta let them do that.
It's time for a quick break. There are millions of potential products to buy, so how do you know which ones are worth your hard-earned money? Simple. You go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and explore those that will transform and improve your life. You'll find deals, listener exclusives, and special offers with some great companies. Recommendations are 100% honest and only on items Ian has tried or believes in. The companies showcased will make you a better man in all areas of your life. Simply go to nextlevelguy.com/affiliates and level up.
So say we have a competition, like, you're fighting, like, say, tomorrow, for example. What would you be doing the night before? What would you be doing the morning of? Not so much your warm-up, because I'm assuming it's the same kind of drills and stretches and mobility exercises, but how do you get ready? How do you go from Taylor the Smiler to Taylor the Badass? How do you get into that fighting, that competition mindset? Because in Muay Thai, you do like the traditional dance. I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately. But how do you get yourself mentally ready? Do you have a playlist that you listen to? Do you do something with your coaches to get you in the zone, ready to go? Or are you just, all right, I'm going to go out and have fun because I enjoy this? How do you approach it?
To be completely honest with you, I do nothing. It's another day in the office. I mean, that comes with, it's not as bad as the damn training, so I'm excited for this. I like to be around my sisters. I have 2 sisters and a brother, and just being around family, just, I mean, don't tell my coach this, but like, I'll go to work. I just, I, I just do what I do. I'm not, stopping my entire life because I have a fight tomorrow. It's like, I've been training for this. I know I have the
Mm.
strength, the motivation, the mental power for this. What I do the night before is not gonna determine, how tomorrow goes, because I'm gonna fight tomorrow the way I fight tomorrow. Um, I've had fights where the night before I'll work, go to get a good night's sleep, wake up, hang out with my family, have a good breakfast, um, just be myself. I think that when the hype is too much and you're stressing yourself out so much, it's like, oh my god, you've already put so much energy into something that doesn't need to be. I mean, enjoy the moment, enjoy the butterflies, enjoy the nervousness when you're there. If you're overhyping this the night before, the week before, and it's hard to say that because everyone gets nervous, but if you really find that just calmness and you go, okay, this is what I've been working towards, this is what I want, this is why I'm here, then I think that's the best position to take.
I don't think you really appreciate just how unique you are, because you have the mindset of a much more older, experienced competitor compared to the amount of fights you've had. Because the outlook you have is fantastic. Because usually I get people that come in and I've had people talking about no sex before a fight. I'm going to bed at 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, would you do that normally? And they're like, no. And it's like, well, why are you going to do it before a fight? Why are you going to change your routine? Or other people turning up and they'll eat a completely different breakfast than they would normally. And you think, well, why are you changing your routine? Why are you going creating mayhem? And other people talk, I go get a Subway and have a Coke. And they have the best day of their life. And you're like, how does it work? Have you ever struggled with nerves? Or are you always
Absolutely. Are you kidding me? I think any person who steps in a ring, no matter how confident or cocky you are, there's always that self-doubt, and it's always going to be there.
just.
No matter how sharp you are in the head. I mean, it's the good and the bad. It's the devil and the devil and the angel. It's always going to be like, oh, what if? We are programmed to have doubts. We're programmed to self-doubt ourselves. But I mean, that's where that mental toughness comes in, and you really gotta take a look at, okay, what have I done to prepare for this? Why am I doing this? Do I enjoy doing this? Right? It's like everything
Mm.
lines up, and the nerves, that's what makes you a good fighter. If you're not nervous, then it means you don't care. So as shitty as it is in the moment where you're like, oh my god, I feel sick, I feel like I'm gonna throw up, it's like, how great am I gonna feel with my hand rosen with a huge belt, right? So, and I have to remind myself that it's not just in martial arts, it's everywhere. Soccer, basketball, volleyball, the day before a big game, everyone feels this way. Or even, a big interview, new job promotion. It's like, that's what life is. So there's no point in, over stressing about it, overthinking something that will be if it's meant to be.
Fantastic answer, because that's what a lot of the top competitors I've interviewed. I've done like Hodger Gracie, Gary Vaynerchuk, and all that. Some of the legends of their industries, and they always say the nerves are always there. You feel them, but you need to accept the message they're passing. It's just your brain trying to keep you safe, and a lot of them will give their nerves a name. They'll go, "Look, not just now, Igor. I'm fine. I appreciate you." But and they say by giving it a name, it takes the power away, and and I thought this is, and I tried it, and it's like, whoa, this actually works, because you're accepting they're there, they're always going to be there, but you're not letting it rule you. And I used to shit a brick before our competitions in house. I could be in my head, and I would lose a round, and I'd be thinking about it like 3 days later, and then I remember thinking how stupid it was. I was letting my life be dictated by success if I won a round in a jiu-jitsu competition. Like it mattered. Doesn't mean you're a bad person.
That's the one thing that I love about this sport. That's why I started martial arts to begin with, is that you win or you lose. And at the end of the day, you can't blame anyone else. I mean, of course there's politics and drama, but at the end of the day, if you get knocked in the face, KO, what are you going to say? oh,
Which
I wasn't feeling well, or oh, they cheated. It's like, no, you got knocked out. That's what happened. So it's the beauty of it all, and that's why I love it so much. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna go in the ring, put all you have into it, and that's the result you're gonna get of that. I mean, if you didn't give it your 100, then maybe that's why you didn't win, or maybe did win.
hmm.
So that's why this is the best, I think.
Well, I interviewed a fighter pilot called Hazard Lee. He's got a fantastic book out on decision making, but that's a by the by. But one of the things he said was they'll have a review. So they'll have a 15-minute combat run where they're going out dropping bombs, maybe if it's a target one or a real life combat engagement. And they'll come back and they'll have a 3-hour review. They'll sometimes listen to a radio call somebody made 15 times so they can understand how they can improve that, how they can get people to make better decisions, these sorts of things. How do you review your training? How do you review your fights? How do you kind of take all of this and become a better fighter for the next one, go in better training? How do you, because when you went from Canada to over to Italy to fight, and you said it was a big step up fighting internationally to dealing with people on a different level of quality, how do you kind of review it and keep growing? Is it just going out and enjoying it every time? Or is there more to it?
There's definitely more to it, but when it comes to the reviewing, I try not to right away. I mean, at the end of the day, win or lose, I know that when I step in the ring, I give it my all, and over reviewing it, over analyzing it. You mean at that moment of time, I can't change what's happened. I can't do anything more. So I kind of just try to, enjoy the high of the fight. And then, next week or the following week, my coach will be like, well, we could have done this or we could have done that. And I'll be like, yeah, I thought about that. Let's work on that. Let's start doing that. So that's more of where the reviewing comes, but I don't sit down with my fights, overanalyze every single second of my fight and go, oh, I could have done that there, or oh, I should have done that there, or look at this. It's more again like of a collaborative approach to it with my crew, and we just go, you know what, the first round was good, second round was perfect, third round, we could have done this better, or we could have done that better. So let's just work on that. Let's focus on that now.
I love it. I wish I was like this at 19. I had my head up my arse. That's a very Scottish phrase, but I mean, I just love your approach to this. That you're learning the true martial arts at a young age. I think it took me a while to go back, and we were taught to be you should be the best. You should throw a mate under the bus to get that job. You should be the best of your industry and all. I think that's the sad thing is like martial arts takes all this sort of hungry for money and all that and just teaches you to be a better person. And I think that's a great thing about doing martial arts. How would you advise somebody new to going into Muay Thai? They can be a fat, sweaty old guy. They can be a young girl. They could be a young boy, whatever it is. How would you want them to approach Muay Thai to get the most from it, do you think?
I think just
smile on your face like you enjoy it.
It's hard to say that because I know that not everyone can do that, but you got to want to enjoy it, right? I mean, I think it's very, very intimidating. It's a very intimidating sport. And I know a lot of my friends, my female friends, are like, "Oh, I could never do that. I could never hit someone." So it's like a lot of people already have that mindset that they could never. So if someone was willing to and able to and really wanted the drive to, then I would just, advise them to enjoy it, take it for what it is, and really just enjoy that. The experience, it's an experience. You got to enjoy the experience.
And it's like you were saying earlier, you have to ask yourself, are you enjoying it? If not, there's plenty of other things you can be doing. And I think too many people are doing something because they think like the influencer, the OnlyFans, whatever, a lot of people are saying, oh, it's easy money, but you have to really, if you're not enjoying a hobby or a side hustle, don't do it. I never thought I'd be mentioning OnlyFans. So because I think that's the problem is people, they're chasing the easy buck. Everybody assumes that they can do affiliate marketing and they're going to make 100,000 a month. They're going to live on it's never that easy because there's so much competition. But if you enjoy something, and go into it, even if you get no money out of it, no fame out of it, you're still winning because you're learning a new skill, you're gaining the confidence, you're growing as a person. What do you want the evolution of your brand to be then? You're going phenomenally. You're winning championships. You're loving the sport. You seem to be doing an amazing job at it. What's success mean for you? Is it doing it because continue doing it? Do you love it? Are you looking at titles? Are you looking at marketing deals? Are you looking at going into the professionals? How do you define it?
I've looked at, majority of those, but really at the end of the day, I just want to show women that, hey, we can do this. Even though women in the martial arts have, evolved hugely over the past even 10 years. I want to show that, hey, blonde, pretty girl can still kick ass. And there's a lot of women out there that, again, still find this intimidating. A lot of my friends, I've brought to the gym and I've been like, you can hit it a little harder. Like, you don't need to, I know what you can do. Like, hit it a little harder. So I think that, the women just need someone in their corner that can go, hey, we can still do this. You don't need to, be all, like you can hit them. You can hit it.
And I've trained with some girls who have, like, they could break jaws with the elbows they can swing.
I love watching the girls more than I like watching the guys. Absolutely.
And I love that moment when you see somebody when they realize the real raw power they have.
Exactly.
It doesn't need to be the raw power they have in their swing, but that sort of what they're capable of, that ability to be good at something, to let themselves out in a sport, because we hold ourselves back, I think. Because I remember doing judo, and they did a basic one where they got a guy to lie down, and you had to do from a side, like you were sort of lying on the person. And one of the guys who was in the beginner class said, "Oh, I've never been this close," because you have your personal space, and suddenly jiu-jitsu, you're basically lying on top of each other, sweating in each other's faces. Muay Thai, you're holding each other and punching each other in the faces. You look eye to eye. All these. I think that for a normal society, it's not really
normal.
weird.
It's not normal, yeah. And it's funny you say that, because yesterday I was holding pads for a younger girl who I hadn't really talked to in my gym. She's a bit newer, and usually when we do pad drills, we'll switch. And she was like, I just want to tell you, like, I'm really scared to hold pads for you. Like, I don't know if I can do that. And, if I'm not good enough, then I'll just sit out and, like, we could get someone else to do that. And I was like, what? Like, no, girl, no. And it's just soul crushing. I was just like, that whole time, I was just like, you're doing great. Like, you look good. You just got to be confident. You got to breathe. You got to get through it. Because I could tell she was like, as she was doing the combo, she was kind of holding her breath. And I think that's a common mistake that a lot of beginners make. It's like they want to get the combo through, but they're not breathing entirely. And I mean, that was hard for me too at the beginning, because if you're not used to it, it's silly to make those grunts and those noises like the hush, 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 hush. Like, you don't want to sound like that in the middle of a gym. But I was trying to explain to her, I was like, you got to breathe, do your combo and we'll breathe together. So she did the combo and we were like, and she did it again. And of course she felt silly to begin with, but I mean, I could tell she wasn't as tired. She wasn't, I could see the paleness in her. Like, you could tell she was more confident doing that, and she was more confident that we were doing it together. So that was something that was awesome.
I love that. I love that moment when you see that sparkle, that moment of you've opened up a new way of thinking for somebody who then takes it into their job, is maybe more open in a relationship. They're more forward to their boss, or you see them growing as a person. That confidence coming, it is amazing. And the fact that you're giving that to training partners, and you're not just like, look, I've got a competition, just hold the pads. That you're actually helping them along, shows a lot about your character as well. So how do you then be tailored away from this? Well, I call it recovery protocols. It's like, people are talking about hot baths with magnesium added into it. I have blackout curtains. I have like a certain diet that I make. I have my cheat meals on a Saturday, whatever it is. But how do you just be a normal person and not get too wrapped up in this? how do you have time for friends? I don't know if you're dating. How do you maintain a relationship away from this without letting your training overcome your life? How do you keep that balance and be a normal girl, woman at the same time?
It's hard, it is, and that's something I think a lot of athletes of any sport deal with. I mean, when it comes to a really big competition, what you put in is what you get out. And I've been in positions like when I was going to Italy, um, the 2, 3 months before, I was, eat, sleep, train. That's all I was doing. And then you run into things like burnout and overexhaustion. And, when you think about something too much, it's just like you know, you don't want to do it anymore. So that was something I definitely experienced where I was eating, training, sleeping. That was just my life for close to 3 months. And going up to Italy, um, it was an experience. Yeah, it was definitely something. But I mean, I got the outcome of what I put in. But again, at that point, I needed to step back and talk about it because I was like, okay, hey, this is what I'm feeling. I've just been doing this. I have no social life. I have, all my friends. I haven't seen them. I have no, normal connections that a normal 17, 18-year-old girl would have. But again, you get what you put in. So I got the result of what I put in. Now coming up to Africa, I leave for Africa in 2 days, and training twice a day, my diet, everything's an account of the result I want or I see getting in Africa. So when it comes to friends, relationships, family, even, the balance is always going to be pulling on both ends of the string, because if you have a goal and you know the steps to that goal, then your family, your relationship, and your friends aren't going to be a priority right then and there, at least. So the way I kind of deal with it is I am again, using therapy is a great way to do it. Writing things out, journaling, manifestations, just putting your thoughts out, visualizing it, seeing it, so you can go, hey, okay, I'm doing this as a result of this, and then I'll get back to this. So it's really just a balance of that. And I was watching the McGregor put out a documentary on Netflix, and I think it was the 4th or 5th episode I was watching yesterday, and they were talking about how McGregor wasn't seeing his family. He went away from his family for this camp, and that's going to bring out the anger in him, right? And I agree with that, because, if I'm working so hard towards something and I don't have those social cues I was having before, I can't see my friends, I can't see my family as much. That drive is going to push me to be even more successful, so that when I come back and go, this is what I did it for. I did it for my family. I did it for my relationship. I did it for my friends. I'm coming back to that. So I thought that was something super relatable and super just honest of him, to take away from his wife and his kids and really just focus on this to meet his goal, and then go back to life, because you got to go back to life at some point.
No, that's true. I love that. And I love that if you're open and honest with a friend and say, look, I'm focusing on this, I've got this competition coming up, I'm not ignoring you, but I need to be focused on this. How about we go and grab a coffee when I come back? Most people are fine with that. It's just that moment of when you don't speak to anybody and then you come back. I have a friend who every time he's in a relationship, you don't see him for 6 months till they break up, and then they come back and suddenly he wants to be your friend, and you're like, yeah, come on.
You're like, really, dude, really?
But that's just a guy thing, I think.
Yeah. It's not just a guy thing. It happens, I think, anyone, any gender, it happens to everyone. I mean, someone gets into a relationship, you don't see them forever. But I think it comes down to your support system. Who are the people you have in your corner? Who are the people that support you? Because at the end of the day, someone who supports you is going to understand that. They're going to go, yeah, you need to focus on this right now. That's your goal. This is how close it is. You need to take this time to focus on that. So again, having the right people on your side, the right people support you, it really makes a difference.
And how do you find this where you're marketing yourself? You're trying to raise money to go and, to get support. Because as an amateur athlete, you don't always get the governing body support, funds for hotels, accommodation, flights, all the stuff you need to live, like food and, all the
I
not fun
have
stuff.
never gotten any of that from any sanctioning body, and not just me, any athlete, especially in the amateur
It's a joke, isn't it?
K1 kickboxing or Muay Thai. You just don't. There is no funding for it. It's not super recognized Canada wide as of yet. It's getting there, but we just don't have that funding that, even Team Canada boxing has. Boxing is a lot more funded than Team Canada kickboxing is. So it is very hard. And I mean, it's very unfortunate that I know a lot of athletes who are fantastic athletes who just can't afford to go do these things. And I mean, they are getting the amateur fights they are here in Canada, but it comes to a point where you go, okay, I'm fighting the same guys over again. Same thing with me. I've been fighting the same three girls in Canada for the past like 3 years now because there's no one else. So you have to go internationally. You have to, broaden your horizons. You have to get different competition. But if you can't afford that, and, of course, Canada can't support that financially for these athletes, then, I mean, you're stuck. You can't really do anything, which is super unfortunate, but it's just what it is right now.
Well, then how do you deal with it as you start going international? When you suddenly become the person people want to interview, the person that people want to come up to you, and take your photo, the people you might get negative comments on social media, you might start getting the creepy guys like ogling you while you're training. But, how would you start dealing with the stardom of it, because you're marketing yourself because you're the professional fighter. So the same way Conor McGregor gets the trolls having a go at him for him promoting his whiskey and stuff like that, or, when you're suddenly asked to do interviews, how are you finding that transition from just fighting to actually having to tailor the fighter, the whole package, if you know what I mean?
It's interesting that you say that because it kind of the way that my social media kind of went out and went up kind of happened organically. I didn't do much to promote myself or post every single day at the right times for the algorithm. It's like
it's interesting when you look at it, because you go from like school to suddenly your multiple massive stadiums. You're like, what?
Yeah, I was just being myself. Honestly, I was just putting out there what I would have been putting out there with just my friends and family following me. And I guess that just grabbed the attention of, the community of martial arts, and it took off from there. But I think it's definitely a wow factor when it's like, oh my God, a pretty woman is fighting. So that obviously grabs some sort of attention. But again, the hard work and dedication and, my resume behind that shows that I'm not, just a girl with gloves on, because there is a lot of that out there. But yeah, I definitely think my track record and my experience and, my achievements speak for themselves.
Because you see people saying, "Oh, you need a social media consultant. You need to get a media manager. And you're like, no."
And I'm so terrible with all of it. I honestly am. Like, everyone is on social media. It's hard to not be. That's kind of what our generation is now. But the feedback that I've been getting from my social media personally, I'm just like, oh my God, I don't want to look at all this. This is too much. I don't want to go through this. I don't want to, and I probably should more than I am, but I kind of just put out what I would have originally put out with no following. And, I get the response that I get just being myself.
No, it's a great answer, because people are following you for you. You're not portraying somebody. You're not giving a character. You're being the real you. And
yeah.
That's
and sometimes the real me might not post for 3 weeks, but hey, I'm sorry, guys.
I've been there. It's 3 months down the line, you're like, oh yeah, I did have a podcast. I should go. I got told I should be putting out like 10 Instagram reels. I should have 3 Facebook posts a day, and
yeah.
I need to. And I was like, and how am I going to go on dates? How am I going to go and work? How am I going to do all the other stuff?
Maybe that is how, these big influencers, these big people get successful, because they know the ins and outs of social media. Me personally, I don't care to learn all of that. I don't. And, if that's what it takes to get there, then I don't want to be there. My life is not going to be consumed by sitting on my phone every single day, posting, making an alarm every other hour to post at a certain time, at a certain, for a certain audience with a certain hashtag. Like, I'm just going to organically grow in the sport that I love until I don't love it anymore. And, people are either going to support me or not support me through that journey. And I'm not going to beg for the attention. So I love the support that I have. I love the people that are following me. But it's not going to consume my life. Everyone's human. Everyone, has bad days, good days. And I don't owe it to anyone to post every single day or show the world what I'm doing or what time I shit. Like, no, I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm sure there's somebody might be interested in
maybe someone interested, but they wouldn't be getting that.
Because there's some of the stuff. I mean, I can remember one of my comments when I first started was I had one of the biggest interviews I'd ever done. I'd had hundreds and hundreds of people watching it, and I thought, this is amazing. And somebody said, I don't like his accent, like meaning me. And I was like, what do I do? I can't change it. It's the one I'm stuck with. And I thought, well, how can I change? How can I be a bit more American? And I thought, what the fuck am I doing? I'm trying to change my accent that I'm born with to suit some random tosspot on the internet. And I was like, no. And I love that you're so down to earth that you're saying, I'm still going to post the same stuff when I want. You can get somebody that deals with that later on when you become a superstar. You can do all that. They can deal with the image stuff. You just be you. And I think you're doing a fabulous job of it. It's so refreshing to see how amazingly experienced you are on a young head. You're kind of just seeing stuff that very few competitors find later. And it's so refreshing. And you're doing an amazing job. How can people help? How can people support you? How can people, is it joining your social media? Are you going to be creating a website? Are you going to be doing other stuff? Are you going to be looking at, I don't know, like other social media ways for people can interact with you? What's your plans for kind of growing this? Like, how would you like to evolve? I know it's a bit difficult, but are you looking at like setting up your website and having training camps and things like that down the line? How do you want to grow into this? Or are you just doing this till it stops being fun?
I think I definitely got a long road ahead of me. Like, I'm only 19 and I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, 15 years. I am going to do it until I don't enjoy doing it anymore. But as of right now, I love doing it. My only platform for this right now is Instagram. And I mean, the best way to support me through my journey in my career as a fighter is, again, just supporting me through that. I've done a few donation campaigns for just like the expenses that I have to pay on my own for international events like Italy, Mexico. I'm going to Africa soon. So that was, a big chunk that, came out of my savings that I was like, oh my God, I gotta, I don't have any other competition here, but, I want to be able to have this opportunity to go with Team Canada to Africa and, compete as a female athlete for Canada. So, really, my biggest goal right now would be the Olympics. Everyone asks me, "Oh, well, when are you going to sign pro? Why don't you want to sign pro?" And I just don't see the point of it right now. I mean, I'm still so young. I have so much more to learn, and I'm just going to keep growing and growing my knowledge until I am ready to eventually do that, if that's what I want to do at that point of time. Right now, they took boxing out of the Olympics. They took karate out of the Olympics. I think they're looking to put kickboxing in for 2028. And I know Wacko Canada is, that's one of their main goals, is to get that set up for the amateur athletes for 2028. And if that's the case, then I would be one of the candidates for that.
Awesome.
And that's kind of my main goal right now, but that's a big if, even it is put in the Olympics.
Yeah.
So that again comes with the funding and, the recognition for kickboxing in Canada, which is growing and growing, but it's still, not as big as boxing. And if boxing's not in the Olympics, why would kickboxing be in the Olympics, So just taking it a day at a time. And when it comes to just supporting me in my journey, my Instagram or my GoFundMe's, that really helps. And, the donations that I get from that go straight to, travel expenses, airfare, hotels, just the things that, are incredibly expensive for me as an athlete to, go compete out of country and get the experience I need to grow.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's like they're like, "Oh, come and represent Team Canada. We want to pay for you. We won't pay your hotel. We won't pay your accommodation. The little things like food."
It's frustrating to understand. There is no logic to it, but I mean, it's hard because where are you going to pull this money from, right? So.
Well, that's the thing. And I think that's the sad thing, is it holds back a lot of fighters who could go.
It does. It holds back so many. And I mean, I'm lucky that I can even afford to do these things. Of course, with the help of like the GoFundMes and the support I have from my fight community and the people that want to see me succeed. But I know so many athletes that deserve to be on an international level, that deserve to be on Team Canada, and just aren't because, it's hard. Life is expensive. Cars, housing, food, everything is so expensive now. And, to do what you love and have to pay for it's excruciating. It really is.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. I mean, I know we're over our time limit. Well, it was really sorry to take it up, but I just love your mindset. I love your approach to this, and it's so nice to see that you're the same person on your social media as you are in real life. That you're, and it's such a nice way that you look at martial arts. You don't put so much pressure on yourself. You're enjoying it. You're involved in it. You're having as much fun with the people you train with, rather than just your individual goals and stuff. And I think hopefully one day you might realize just how unique an approach you have to it, because very few young fighters have it. It's all ego, whereas you're driven from a love of the sport. So you're definitely going to be one to watch. And I know you're going to be in the Olympics. You're going to be kicking ass all up and down. What do you want people to take from this? I know this is I usually ask like the people I interview, what do you want people to remember from this interview? It can be from about competition. It can be from somebody who's a growing star in the industry. It can be anything or anything. Is there anything that you think summarizes this interview about life? I know it's a bit unique.
It's a bit unique, but no, I have an answer for it for sure. I kind of have a motto that I kind of go through my days reminding myself. And it's, it's as simple as what's meant to be what will be. It is what it is. I find myself 15 times a day just going, it is what it is. So what's meant to be will be. And I'm just going to keep being me. And I think everyone else should, just be the rawest, purest version of themselves. And that'll get you so much farther than, pretending.
Jesus, you are honestly. I think one day, because I think back what I was like in 19. Holy hell! Compared to what you have this beautiful way of looking at life, and I love that. And I really hope this goes on to other young people who are listening, who want to go and chase their dreams, to realize that there is more to life than doing it, but you can have fun. You don't need to be living in the gym 24/7. You can be a normal person and enjoying it, and chasing.
It is too short to be angry, be hostile, be cocky. Like, you gotta, if you're not enjoying life, then you're doing something wrong. There's so much to enjoy. So there's no point in being, the bad guy.
Well, I'll definitely have to get you back on when you're becoming a superstar, when you're winning fights left, right, and center.
I hope so. I hope so. That's the goal. Well, thank you for having me.
I know you're going to kill it down in Africa. I know you're going to kill it in your next international tournament. And, you could even give me a shout out when you're holding aloft the multiple championships, etc. But
I definitely will. I'll let you know. I'll call you up in Africa and be like, hey, I just won.
And how can we... I don't like following, but how do we follow you? How do we follow along this journey? Is it Instagram the best way? Are you thinking a website later?
Possibly down the road, later on, but as of right now, just taylor.ray.muay thai. That's the best way to support me and follow me along the journey. I'll post eventually. I do post. It takes a couple days. I'll get there. I do post, but just know that the real hard work is in the gym, and I'm not always on my phone.
Well, that's it for another week, and thank you for listening. It's now time to take what you've learned and use it to develop and enhance your life with the key points mentioned. Listen, try it, embrace it, use it, and crush it. Now's your time to hit that next level in your life. If you liked this episode, then please leave a comment on the show notes or a review of the show on your podcast platform. Everything helps evolve the show. Until next week, keep seeking the next level in your life.